Welcome back to the remote front office today, guys. Today we are going to be doing a non-off-season grading video. Today is actually going to be a reaction because we finally got a release of the full schedules yesterday afternoon. But before we get into that, make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Today we are just covering the bowl schedule. We may sprinkle in other schedules as we end up getting to that point. But as of right now, we're just going to cover the bowl schedule as I am a Bulls fan. Some of you guys know. So I kind of wanted to give my thoughts. So what we're going to do is I have some stats on strength of schedule. But I want to react first to my initial thoughts going through it, right? So one of the first things is the Bulls we are in like essentially the lottery for most nationally televised games. This can be a good thing or a bad thing. If you guys were a Bulls fan a couple years ago, if we were on TNT on Thursdays, we didn't lose. And then we had a couple of years where we either beat all the good teams and none of the bad teams, or all the bad teams and none of the good teams. So it really just goes one way or another with this current roster. But I'm going to give you guys the record. So what I did is I looked at our schedule. I didn't factor in back-to-backs. I didn't factor in rest. I looked at what team I saw and what was my first reaction to what that scoreboard's going to say at the end of the day, right? So with that in mind, I had us at 35-47. That's not great. That is definitely a lottery team, and that is definitely not a team that deserves a lot of nationally televised games. A couple of things you have to factor in with this schedule is when we either are going to, again, we're either going to beat a lot of the good teams or we're going to beat a lot of the bad teams, and then we're going to lose the mass amount of the vice versa, right? It's just how this team works. So I tried to balance it a little bit. Another thing I factor in is we typically split with like a New York. We split with like a Cleveland. It's really hit or miss on Indiana. Detroit, we typically take the season series, at least the last couple of years, just because of their health injuries. Health concerns. But that was my first without hearing any analysis on the schedule. That was me going through game by game and being like, that's a loss, that's a win, that's a loss, that's a win. And we may eventually have that breakdown fully on the channel. I just kind of went through it quickly just in my head. And then I saw a tweet that came out yesterday afternoon from Will Gottlieb. And he was actually quoting a schedule stat. So the Bulls, according to the NBA, have the 11th easiest strength of schedule, 8th easiest in the East. So that means that there are 3 other teams that are all West teams that are in that easiest strength of schedule. We have 13 games with more rest than our opponent, 8 games with less rest, which is a good sign because you obviously want to have more rest than the other team. 6th fewest miles traveled. That's a really big one in my eyes. It means we're avoiding, because last year we had like the London game, and there's always been like the West Coast road trip. If you guys know, if you guys have been Bulls fans for a while, we always have like that big stretch of a West Coast road trip that really messes with the miles and stuff like that. We have 14 total back-to-backs. 10 teams play 13, 11 teams play 14, and 9 teams play 15. So we are towards the higher end of that. All in all, with this information, I still think we're probably somewhere in the 35 to, if we're really lucky, 40 win range. I don't see the team going above 40. It doesn't make sense to me in my mind. And honestly, I kind of hope we're at the 35-47 mark. I want this team to blow it up. I want this organization to realize that this is not a team built for title contention, the playoff contention, however you want to phrase it, right? This team is not built to win. Period. It's just a fact. So I honestly hope I'm right. And I hope it is another bad year for the Bulls. And they come to a realization and go, okay, well, let's blow it up, right? I hope that that's what sparks this. Maybe we start out the gates bad. I looked at the opening schedule, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. Like, not even remotely. Opening night for us is OKC. And then we go to Toronto. Always plays us tough. Detroit, I think, will be a win just because it's early in the season. They're trying to figure out their rotation. Indiana very well could be a decent win. Depends on if Tyrese Halliburton's like fully got his legs back under him. Dallas, I expect to be a loss because Luka and Kyrie were just not going to be able to guard both. Brooklyn, I think Brooklyn will play as tough. And Mikal Bridges will probably have 40. Denver, nobody can guard Jokic on this roster. Utah would probably win. Phoenix, Alex Caruso can't guard all three of those guys at the same time, so that's a loss. Detroit, we split the series. Milwaukee will probably lose. Orlando, we typically split. We play them on a back-to-back. Miami will play on a back-to-back. We'll lose probably both of those because it's early in the year. We play OKC again, Toronto, Brooklyn, Boston, Milwaukee, New Orleans. That takes us into December, and that takes us to the in-season tournament right there, right? I don't see like there's no easy stretch in the schedule. I understand that we have supposedly the 11th easiest strength of schedule, but there's no, like, there's a 3-game stretch where we play Charlotte, Houston, and then we play Golden State, and then we go to San Antonio. That might be legitimately our easiest stretch of the schedule. I'm pretty sure that's our easiest stretch of the schedule for the entire year. And that is in beginning of January. So I'm not entirely sure where this whole easiest strength of schedule thing came from. But I don't think it's that easy, right? Because we typically don't play well against bad teams. We don't play well against good teams. We don't play well. Like, it just really depends on what team you're getting, right? Either you're getting the team that's 5th in defense and almost dead last in offense, or you're getting a team that's just the middle in both. But yeah, so that's my thought on kind of just a generic overview. We can always go more in depth as we get closer into the season. But the good news is 3 of our nationally televised games are NBA TV, 3 are ESPN, and 1's TNT. So in reality, we have 4 nationally televised games. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Bulls schedule now that it's released. Let me know your guys' thoughts, or if you guys have another team you want me to talk about their schedule. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.